Hey everyone, welcome back to Rob's Car World. Today's top pick is a beautiful 1968 Volkswagen Fastback. I found this car out in California. He's asking $13,500. There is a little rust on it, but let's dive into this car and have some fun. I found this car a little while ago on Craigslist. It is a 1968 Volkswagen Fastback. It was also called the Volkswagen 1500 and 1600, depending on the model year. They came in two models, Squarebacks and the Fastback here in the United States. The Squareback was the station wagon version, and the Fastback is what you see right here. In 1965, they went with a 1600cc engine, and that carried through to 1968. And in 1968, they also offered fuel injection, which was kind of fun, as well. So, especially here for the United States in certain weather climates and such. They built 2.5 million of these cars between 1961 and 1973. But today we don't find many of them. And 13.5 is a decent asking price. However, we need to find out how extensive the rust problem is in the lower part of the car, right where the seat is. So we'd have to get into the rust and finding out. But everything else looks to be very original, but there is some rust work that we'd have to dive into and see. So this seller goes on to say he acquired this car in 2020, and he did a comprehensive overhaul of the engine and the transmission. The transaxle was also rebuilt. The front window and window gaskets and door seals were all replaced. So he's done a lot of work with the car. And the floors of the cars look decent, but there is one photo, and we'll dive into the photos and see if we can tear it apart a little bit. The exterior of the car looks really nice and straight and correct. I don't see any traces of heavy Bondo or bad paint work. The paint looks like it's thin. You can almost see it wearing down a bit. So it was probably repainted sometime in the 70s or 80s or something like that. Some photos show a nice shine, but again, that's the lighting of the clouds and such. But it's all there structurally it looks straight and it looks proper and correct. So $13,500 asking price is a good starting point. Beautiful fastback lines. This car rides differently than a Volkswagen Beetle. It's definitely more contemporary, something that we're more used to. The advertising folks had fun with this car because if you open up the trunk, where the engine is on the floor, you can put luggage. And if you open up the hood, you can put luggage there too. So just like electric cars today, where's the engine? Where's the drivetrain? Well, here it was a pancake that was low to the floor. And that engine being low to the ground also gave the car really good driving characteristics in bad weather and snow and rain and things like that. So the car was a decent car for its time. And you don't see many today. They built 2.5 million of them, but today very few are left on planet Earth. I love the little backup lights that are there. The bumper looks original, has a little ding in it, but the car looks nice. Here's some rust. It looks like there's a little rust here on the window surround and a little pitting on the door, but it doesn't look like it's through. So this is a car that you'd have to buy right to redo the whole car, or just enjoy it as it is. Offer him $9,000 for it and just enjoy it as it is and just have fun. But it structurally looks really nice. Here's the engine bay. He said he redid the motor, and that looks correct. So that's a lot of work right there. If the engine and transaxle was rebuilt and the clutch was rebuilt and things like that, this looks very correct and very organized. This is not rust here. This is like a soundproofing material that went in the engine area, so the sound of the engine wouldn't get into the cabin. And there's the fuel injection, air cleaner. There's the trunk space where you can put some luggage in. You can put your oil in there, and don't put gasoline in there. And the undercarriage looks decent. Like I said, there's one photo, and we'll get to it. This photo here looks original sheet metal. It doesn't look like it's fully pitted or anywhere at a point where it's gone through. But this one photo coming up, this photo here shows rust here on the right side structurally and rust here on the left. So that's where the rear wheel would kick up dirt and water and things like that. And that looks like it's fairly extensive. Now, if he took this engine down and rebuilt the engine, then I'm thinking structurally the car is holding up. it may not be a structural members there, but definitely some welding and some new sheet metal has to go in there. So, and while you're at it, you might as well, check the floors while you're going through the bottom of the car. But other than that, without seeing this car close up, I can kind of gauge that it's not a bad deal, at least from an asking price. Interior looks nice, red interior. Headliner looks nice, pop out rear windows. Speedometer and dashboard looks really correct. So yeah, I mean, it's a little cracking here in the speaker grill, but other than that, it looks really welcoming and very nicely done. I don't like that little straw hat shelf there, but that's common with Volkswagen folks. But there it is. I mean, for the money, 13.5 again. It might be worth 9,000. It might be worth 10. Might not be worth the 13.5 when you get underneath there and do your inspection of what rust repair needs to be done. But other than that, if the rest of the car and all the mounting points for the suspension is solid, and the front, suspension and the steering connections and things like that are solid, then you're dealing with more cosmetic rust than you're dealing with structural rust. So those are the things that you got to find out about when you look at this car. But for 13.5, you don't see many of these out there. I love the car, as you can tell, and I would just basically, find out more about it if this kind of car turns you on like it does for me. That's it for this beautiful 1968 Fastback. If you're not a subscriber to our page here, our YouTube channel, please subscribe. And to do that, just go here on our main page where it says subscribe, hit that subscribe button and become a member. And if you like the video, please give a thumbs up for the algorithm so the algorithm can be happy and YouTube can promote this video to other folks that love cars as well. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this Fastback. If you go on Craigslist and go out to Santa Barbara, California, and plug in 1968 Volkswagen Fastback, this car will come popping at you. Thanks very much for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.